Hey, hey everyone, welcome. Hi, David. It's gonna be a minute. We are gonna start at 7. I'm just waiting for my guests to join me. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Hi, David. Two Davids. Okay, let me just let him in. This is my first live, except hopefully he
Hey, what's
will.
up?
There you go. Look at
I'm
that
loving it. I'm loving it.
technology, right?
I'm doing great. How's my
How are
audio?
you? It's good. It's good. I have on headphones as
Should I put
well.
on
Do I
headphones? I
sound
don't have them
okay?
on. Oh,
Um,
I can.
I think you're fine. Can you hear me
Okay.
clearly though? Yeah, I think you're good.
Thank you.
I think you're good. Welcome. So
Happy
happy
to
to
be
see you
here. I
twice
just
in one day, right?
beat Morgan in the game of pool, so like my confidence is high. I'm ready to go. Absolutely.
Right. Finish on a good
Betty
note.
and Dan,
Hi, Betty. How are
what's up?
you? Thank you for joining us. Very nice. So I'm going to try and keep my eyes on the screen. Sometimes you get lost in the conversation, but we will do our best between the two of us to try and
Okay.
keep everybody involved. It is 7 o'clock, so we're going to get started because we have a lot that we want to go through. First, I want to go ahead and welcome everybody to my first episode of Real Talk. I'm very, very excited to have you guys join me. And what this is it's going to be a monthly series that's going to focus on all things real estate. Each month, I'm going to try and speak with somebody who I feel is an expert. Either it's a contractor, lawyers, lenders, just different people in real estate to bring to you to give you some valuable information. So, my very, very first guest, I'm going to let him introduce himself shortly, but I just want to say that he is motivational, inspirational, dynamic, and passionate about all things real estate. And I mean that. So when I thought about who I wanted to have on for my very first IG live, there was nobody else that came to my mind. I immediately reached out to David and he said, thank you. So thank you very much. So with that, I could go on and on. I'm going to stop and I'm going to let David tell you a little bit about himself
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. So
what
I'm
he's all
David
about.
Radney. I go by D-Rad, so feel free to refer to me as D-Rad. Um, so there's so much to tell. I can give you the Reader's Digest version, or I can go long form. But there's some history I'd love to give you. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, born and raised in Cleveland, and moved to Los Angeles when I was 17. And Los Angeles is where I met my wife Michelle, and we moved to Austin, and that's where my journey in real estate started, in Austin, Texas. I have two daughters, Morgan and Taylor. They're 14 and 17. A dog, Charlie, and I am really into real estate. Like you said, I'm very passionate about helping agents grow their business and be successful in real estate. And it's in my blood. I can't help it. I just want to see people grow, and it excites me to see them have success in real estate.
Great. Thank you. And David and I actually met, I would say maybe
Yeah,
3 or 4 years ago at this
at
point, at
least,
least,
at least.
at
I was going
least,
to say, not in this country. We were
in the
in the
Bahamas.
Bahamas.
In the Bahamas, our spouses worked together. So we were on a trip and we met. And I just remember talking to you. And at that point, I think real
Okay.
estate was like way in the back of
Yeah,
my mind. Something I had thought about throughout the years, but not necessarily seriously. And I just remember talking to you and hearing about all of your investments and
for
just
sure.
packed that away in the back of my mind. And over the years, we've gotten a chance to hang out with you and Michelle more often. And it really lit the fire under me. And I decided to go into real estate and called you and asked for your advice. So it's been a wonderful
I'm
mentorship.
here
I don't think you
for it,
signed
though.
up
I'm
for
here
it,
for
but
it.
yes, it has been. So I think what would be nice now, David, if you just kind of tell us what made you
Yeah.
decide to go into real estate, when that happened, and
Yeah.
what you're currently
Yeah,
doing and
so
where
I
you're
got
currently
into real
working
estate.
out
I
of.
mentioned earlier that we moved to Austin from Los Angeles, and I was at a event at our church. It was like a coaching mastermind that was happening at our church in Austin, and the guy who was there presenting kind of challenged all of us to raise our hand and talk about something that we wanted to do but hadn't done. And for me, that was buy investment property. And he challenged me to write a check for $1,000 with the caveat that if I didn't have a real estate property at least under contract in 2 months, that $1,000 check was cashed. And yeah, right. Talk about lighting the fire.
Nice.
That lit a fire
Nice.
because me and my money
Yes.
were pretty tight, and I don't like to lose the money. So within 2 weeks, I was under contract on my first duplex. I mean, I still own it to this day. Right?
Say it again.
2 weeks, not 2
How
months.
long?
2
2
weeks.
weeks,
I was
you
under
said?
contract
Yes.
on the duplex,
Yes.
and we still own that duplex to this day. And that really just kind of inspired me to look more into real estate. And I started buying more investment property and met a gentleman who was a broker. And he was helping me find property and said to me, David, you're doing all the lead work. Why don't you come work with me? I'll let you keep 90% and you can just do your own thing. So that's what I did. I started buying property, using my commission to fix them up and get them rented out. And that turned into me working with other investors, you know, flipping HUD foreclosures and helping them buy investment property. And over the years, that turned into me doing that part-time to transitioning into real estate full-time. And I've been doing real estate now for 18 years. I can't believe that. I was kind of going through the dates this morning, getting prepared for tonight. It's been 18 years. And of course, I started part-time, but I've been doing this thing for almost 2 decades. That's pretty crazy when I think about it. Yeah.
It's amazing. I think it's actually pretty amazing because you would have gone through 2008.
Absolutely. So I've seen
agent,
the highs and lows, which I think makes me really great at being a coach, because I understand that even in the lows, people have to buy and sell. And when people get discouraged thinking the market's not strong, it's like, no, I've been through that. People still have to sell their homes. People still need to buy homes. You just need to stay busy and stay focused and do your job, and you'll have success. So yeah, that's how that's how I initially got started in real estate, and moved to New Jersey and still did residential sales when I moved to New Jersey. And yet every year I started taking stock of what did I love about real estate, and the things that I didn't love, I started leveraging out. I got a marketing assistant. I got a virtual assistant. I started getting transaction coordinators to take things off my plate. I'm not great at the paperwork. Right?
Yes.
I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning in a cold sweat thinking I forgot to have something signed, and I just got tired of all that. And then I realized the only thing I really enjoyed in real estate was helping other agents have success. I got more joy helping people learn how to learn scripts and overcome objections and get listings signed. So I started leaning more into helping other people, which turned into me starting, my coaching program, Push, about 4 years ago. And now that's all I do is coach agents.
So in the last 4 years, you have not actively done real estate. You've been able to transition this into a full-time endeavor. Okay, that's great. I do have a question. We're going to hold the questions off until the end, but I do want to let you know I did see your question, Venice, and I will have David answer that for you a little bit later. So when you made the decision to transition into something that you're passionate about within real estate, was that a difficult decision? And how was it initially? Was it slow, or did it just?
It wasn't a difficult decision. There's a quote that you hear sometimes, and they say, you're not a tree, like move, like you can do something different. You don't have to stay in something, a job or a relationship or whatever it is. If it's not delivering what you want, you can do something else. And that's what I love about this industry. You can work with sellers, you can work with buyers, you can work with investors, you can do property management. There's so much you can do in real estate. So I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And so I'm a believer in not really having a plan B. I just said, I'm going to do the coaching and stop doing real estate sales like cold turkey. And it took off pretty quickly because I had agents that needed help, and I poured into them, and they started having success pretty much right out the gate. And when other agents saw the success they were having, it just helped me grow my program really quickly. So I was very fortunate and blessed in that respect.
And I think that's so important that you said, you kind of just jumped in, and I think with myself, that's how I've done with the real estate. Once I was in financial aid for university prior to this, crunching numbers, And when I really made the decision to go into real estate, I jumped in with both feet. So I think that it's interesting that you had that same approach. And I'm sure you had that same approach as well when you first went
Absolutely.
into real estate, that this is what you're going to do and you're going to give it everything 100%. What advice would you give somebody
Hmm.
who, and I'm going to break this into two categories, new agents and established agents,
Yeah.
in terms of, and I know that's a big question, so you can figure out how you want to break it down, but just in terms of not necessarily lead gen, but just being successful, planning your day, planning your
I
business.
can,
Can you
and then
give them
this
some
is going to
advice on that?
sound tough, but it's tough love. It's coming from a good place. For the newer agents that are leaving
Mm-hmm.
their current industry and thinking, hey, I want to get into real estate because they're watching HD TV and it looks glamorous, you have to understand that this
Mm-hmm.
requires a lot of work, right? And you're going to leave a
Right.
business or a job where you're working 40 or 50 hours a week and you think you're going to come to real estate and work an hour or two and make all this money. Nope. Right.
On the
It's not happening.
side.
You have to take that same
Right.
energy that you
Yep.
give the man when you're working in corporate America and working 40 or 50 hours a week, and you have to apply that same energy to real estate. This is your business.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, how do you,
But how do you stay
listen,
focused? How do you stay
there is
focused?
something that I really live by. If it's not on your schedule, it doesn't exist, right? And
Exactly.
selling real
Yeah.
estate, it's not about selling real estate, it's about following a schedule. So you stay focused by understanding how to time block and manage your schedule. And when I say that, the caveat to that is when you're putting something on your calendar, you put it in there and
Mm-hmm.
with honor, and you keep that commitment to yourself. So many times a reminder comes up, hey, I have this going on. You're like, snooze, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. You have to keep the commitment, because if you're not following your schedule and staying organized and time blocking, you're not going to have success in real estate. You'll look up and it's going to be June and you haven't closed any deals yet because you're giving yourself permission to not keep the commitments that you've made.
And I think that's really important because I
Hmm.
actually took your scripts class. And I don't know if you remember this, but I signed up really early into my real estate
Hmm.
journey. And I had so much going on. I'm like, look, I got apartments to show, I have a buyer. And I skipped a class. And I remember you saying, and I don't even know if it was just addressed to me, it was to the class. And you kind of said to the group, you have to schedule for this. Don't let the
Yeah.
business take over. You need to be able to make time for yourself to create new business, to put back into your business. Don't let your current business distract you from that. And I listened to what you
Yeah.
said, and I said, you know what, he's right. I need to put this on my calendar. I made the commitment financially to be a part of it because I believe in what you do. And now I need to sit down and put that on my calendar. So I do think it's important for agents to block off their time. And that's one of the things that I have
Yeah.
definitely learned
It,
from
it's
you in
it's
this
one of the
process
biggest
as
things
well.
that allows me to be successful, not just in real estate, right? I'm married for 21 years. I have two
Mm-hmm.
daughters. I have another passion, which is photography. And so for me, it's in order to live a life by design, I have to time block what I do, or else I'm all over the place and
Right.
I'm so stressed. I'm not really enjoying my life. Life is too short. I don't want to work until I'm 65 and then look up and life is over. I want to enjoy life right now. So that means I have to really be regimented and really follow a schedule.
And I think that's a good point as well. And I see you, John, you said it's
Yep.
not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. And that's the bold law.
Amen.
And that's absolutely true. But I think a lot of people, and I might have been one of these people initially, when you go into real estate, you're like, I have a free schedule. This is great. I can plan everything. I have the flexibility. And you do. But there are certain things you need to do on a daily basis, a weekly basis to keep your business running and flourishing. So I think that that's really
Yeah,
an
so that's
important
that's
point that
that's
you
kind
put
of like my
in.
advice to a newer
So,
agent, right? And also to when you're looking for a company to join, like my second piece of advice is don't get so caught up in the commission splits and oh, if I work for this company, I get to keep this much commission.
yeah.
Because if you're not getting the training, you're not making money anyhow. What you really need to do is focus on finding a company
Hmm.
that has the right education, the right mentorship, the right coaching that will teach you how to be a professional real estate agent. Because if you don't learn those skills, you're not making money anyhow. So that would be my advice to a new agent, those two things.
And do
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
tell
I'm
everybody who
affiliated
you're
with Keller
affiliated
Williams.
with?
I've been in real estate for 18 years. Yep, Ridgewood,
Whoop, whoop,
KW,
whoop.
Village Square. I worked
Yes,
for two
Keller Williams.
companies. One was a small
Okay.
company in Houston, Texas. We did HUD foreclosures. And after that, I transitioned
Hmm.
to Keller Williams because of the training. I stayed because of the training and the culture and the community. And, there are tons of other companies that people can choose from. I just know that training is important and we have to have continuing education in order to be successful. And that's what they offer. So I'm staying put.
And I agree. I'm actually with Keller Williams too, but Keller Williams Cornerstone. And
Yep.
that was one of the things that I appreciated was the training that was in place and continues to
Amen.
be in place for me to continue to grow. Um, One of the questions I wanted to ask you is just a sense of community. I think one of the things that's
Mm-hmm.
amazing about your morning mindset, your push, your scotch
Of
and
course.
scripts, and I'm going to let you
Yep.
tell everybody about all of those, but is the sense of community and how important is that community and networking
Well, in
for
our
a real
business,
estate
it's
agent?
extremely important because although you might be in an office with 500 people, real estate can feel really lonely at times. And so you need to have that sense of community,
Mm-hmm.
people that you can lean on when you have questions or you need support or you need motivation or you need inspiration. That's extremely important. And that's why I
Right.
have all those calls so that you have a sense of community. So many times, the only time we see another agent or talk to another agent is if we're negotiating deals. However, imagine if you had a
Right.
relationship with that agent and it's a multiple offer situation and you submit an offer, but they know you. They know what type of agent you are. They have a relationship with you. They
Absolutely.
would go to the seller and say,
Absolutely.
yeah, we have
Mm-hmm.
these other offers, but I know David and he's a solid agent. He gets it done. And so although this one might be a little bit more, I really feel like we should go with this offer because I know he'll execute and get the job done. That happens when you have a relationship. It, oh, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. And you know, and I want you to really get into, and I'm
Yeah.
kind of pushing us along just because of time, but I do want you to get into how your program kind of helps
Yeah.
agents
So
with that.
what I will tell you is that in real estate, and this is something I always say, and this is something I really believe, so many times we're getting invited out to meet with buyers and sellers or investors, right? And they're inviting us out. And a lot of times that's because we said enough where they feel confident that we can help them. And it's when we open our mouths and
Right.
start speaking that we either win or lose that opportunity. And so my program Push is a program that trains real estate agents on how to handle those situations. When people say, hey, I want to list my
Mm-hmm.
house, will you come out and meet with me? That's the wrong time to start prepping and getting ready. You have to stay ready. And so my program teaches
Yeah.
agents soup to nuts how to cover the listing presentation to show up and be able to answer the questions and overcome the objections. And the biggest thing is to close. Like how do you actually close to get that paperwork
Mm-hmm.
signed? And in the program that I run, it's based
Mm-hmm.
on that training and scripting and objection handling. So when someone says, will you lower your commission? I'm not sitting there like a deer in the headlights. Like, wait, what do you mean?
What do I do?
Yeah, I'm going to
Right.
say,
You
no.
have a
Do you have any other
response?
questions?
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that with confidence because I know I'm worth 6%. And it's either you see my value or you don't. However, if I've done my job right, if I've put in practice everything that I learned and push, I'm going to show up to that meeting and say my commission 6%. And they're going to see how I stand out from the people who charge 5, and they're going to gladly pay me my 6% because they see my value. It is.
And that's a skill. And I think that it's definitely a skill. And that was one of the things that I learned. And again, that sense
Yes,
of community with the push as well. You know, real agents, real
that's right.
situations, real responses, and just kind of walking us through those objections because it's really easy
It's
to get
extremely
caught with
easy.
the objections. Hmm. And I know another thing you work with a lot is the first sale by owner. Do you want to
Yeah.
talk about do you want to talk about that a little bit? But before you do, there was another comment from Sophia. She said a lead is just a lead until you turn it into
No,
to not a
who
lead.
said that?
So that is very true.
Sophia.
this was Sophia. She's
So,
actually from
Sophia.
my market center. She said a lead is a lead. You need to turn that lead into a client. Training is
So,
key
Sophia,
in
let me tell you
cultivating
something. I
that
did a
lead.
video today where I have of course, my last name is Radney. That's why I have this R, but I brought this out to make a point. Our job in real estate, and this is what a lot of agents don't understand when they get into the business, it's lead generation. That's our job, which means you have to make contacts.
Mm-hmm.
Every day you have to be talking to people about real estate. Who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest? That's the conversation every day. That is a contact. What we want to do is move them into a contract, a listing contract, a buying contract. The difference between the word contact and contract is the letter R. The R stands for building the relationship. And that's what I train people on, whether it's your database expireds for sell by owners. We can't make that call and talk about, hey, I'm so great, hire me. I work for Keller Williams. We're the #1 company and I get my seller. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about you. They don't even know who you are. They don't care what you know until they know you care about them. So when you build that relationship, when you focus on the R and you come from contribution, how can I help you? Where are you trying to go to? What problem do you have that I can help you solve? And you show an interest in them and you
Right.
build that relationship. It goes from a contact, insert the R, and you got the contract. That's what it's all about. But we need to learn how to slow down and stop having commission breath and be willing to say and do anything to get the business and make it about our sellers, make it about our buyers. And when we make it about them, they will work with us. That's what I believe.
And that takes time. I mean, that takes
Yeah,
time. So you have to be patient
I'm
in
okay
some
being
cases.
patient for a $15,000 check. I can be patient. Of course I can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that those are some of the key things that I did learn. I would like you to talk about how people can get in contact with you, any upcoming projects you have, and everybody else that's joining us. Thank you
Oh,
so
wow.
much.
I
We
didn't
have
realize that.
24 people
Hello,
here, which
everyone.
is really good. Yes, and hi. And we will, put some
Sure.
questions or comments in the chat. This will be on our both of our pages. So if you didn't get a chance to get here in the beginning and you want to kind of go back and see the introduction, you'll be able to watch
So
it as well.
how to get in touch with me.
Sophia
So
says it.
here's what I'll
Go
say.
ahead. Go
If you
ahead.
can't find me, shame on you in this day and age. You hop on Google and type my name in, you can find me. But, in my bio, right? If you go to my bio on
You're
Instagram and
right.
click the link, I have my link tree and it has all my social media accounts and how to get a hold of me. You mentioned earlier that I do a couple calls, the morning mindset call and Scotch and Scripts. And so the link to register for those
Hmm.
calls are in my bio. And these calls are free. I have these set up. Here's the reason why I set these calls up. When I started in real estate, I didn't have a coach or a mentor to help me. And so my goal is to be the coach that I needed when I started. It's not about a money grab. It's not about,
Hmm.
hey, pay me and I'll help you. I've been doing the morning mindset call and Scotch and Scripts for 3 years. I never charge. It's
Which is amazing. And I am new, but it's Tuesday and Thursdays. And I have to say, if you have not jumped on, please jump on next Tuesday. It is an amazing group of real estate agents, and the amount of information, like even today, if you want to just talk
listen,
really quickly about the the good nugget, the nugget of information that you gave us today.
yeah, yeah,
You don't have to go into it. And I know you can't share your screen, but
yeah.
if you can just give
Yeah,
them a little
so
bit of
I'll
something,
try
that would
not
be
to geek
great.
out again because this is really exciting to me. I shared, and you guys may know this already, this AI technology called Chat GPT. And so what it is it's AI technology where you can take, I gave an example today where I gave 12 words. It was 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch in the Hartung section of Wyckoff, New Jersey. It was like 12 words. I put this into this AI system
Right.
and it spat out this beautiful listing description in 30 seconds. It used to take me hours to write a
Wow.
listing description. I would start and then I would start looking at other listings and copying and pasting from other people's things, trying to find something that sounded
Hmm.
great. This technology spit it out in 30 seconds and it was phenomenal. It was amazing.
And it was good. It was good. I think everybody on the call this morning, first and foremost wanted the link. And then we were just amazed because when you do
Yeah.
real estate, there is a lot of
Yeah.
paperwork. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. And anything you can do to minimize the things that you have to do is a tool. And this was a free tool. So I will definitely make sure that I put this in my LinkedIn, the link to that as
Well,
well.
let me
So if
share
anybody's
something
interested in
with
it, they
you.
can have
So
it.
many people were excited about that news I shared, that they flooded the system, and now it's saying they're full and they're taking email addresses. So when they open it back up, you can get in. But right now they've kind of blocked it because so many people after the call were like, "Let me join."
Close it.
They closed it today. So if you go
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
attempt to apply, just put your email address in. Once it's ready and up and running again, they'll let you in. Yep.
Mhm. Okay, well, that is definitely good information. Man, I feel like I could talk to
Sure.
you forever because there's just been so much good advice that you have given me, and I want to be able to give it to everybody else. But what I will
Yeah.
say is this is just the first of a series.
Oh boy.
Please, I am going to put you put me
I
on
put you on
the
a hot seat this morning.
hot
So,
hot seat this morning. So I'm going to put you on the hot seat, and I believe Betty's here as well, and she may know about this. But a couple of months ago, you did a
yeah.
self-defense
Yeah.
thing with a group of realtors. I was unable to make it because I had something else going on. But real quickly, it came from one of your morning mindsets. Or was it Scott's and Scripts? No, I think it was Morning Mindset. We talked about just how we have to be safe as agents
Yeah, of
going into
course.
spaces alone and by ourselves and opening up houses and all of those things. And somebody suggested that you put together somebody put together a group of agents, and there was an in-person self-defense class. I would love for you to
No,
arrange that again or facilitate that or
no,
point
no,
me
you're
in the
not putting
right
me on the
direction
hot
since
seat.
you put me on the
I
hot
can't take
seat.
credit for it.
Um,
I have to give
can
credit to Haza because she's the person that put it together. And so we will do that
okay.
again because it's important. Listen, if I can just say this really quickly, I know we're short on time. Man or woman, you can't drop everything and go run to a vacant house and show a house to somebody you don't know. Watch the news. We live in a crazy world. You got to be smart. You got to protect yourself. So first
Right.
of all, trust your gut and use common sense. But
Hmm.
for two, taking a class like that will
Right.
show you if you come into a situation where you feel threatened, at least you know how to defend yourself. You know how to get out of certain situations. But the best thing to do is not get in those situations. So you don't go meet someone at a vacant
Hmm.
property. You don't go in the basement. I'm a man. I'm 6'4", 240 pounds. I don't need to go in the basement with you to show you where the damn washer and dryer is.
Listen,
Go down there, figure it out. We'll talk later.
I I have mastered that. I to this
Yep,
day, I will get there early. I open the door, go through, do whatever I need to do, and then by the time they come, I'm on the porch.
that's right.
Go right in. Let me know if you have any questions. I don't do
Yep,
basements. There's no reason to do basements. And so
yep.
I think that that is just a really good piece of advice. And also, what I started doing
Mhm.
as well, I do a lot of apartments, is requiring people to send me a copy of their license before I meet them. Like
Well, here's what I
just that
love that
simple. It's
you
part of my
said. You said
process.
required.
Um,
This is your life and your safety. If they don't want to send that to
required.
you, well, guess what? Go find
Right.
someone else to show you the house. That should be a standard in your
Hmm.
business. If I'm taking you out, number one, come meet me at my office. Let me lay eyes on you and get a vibe from you and fill you out and see who you are. Secondly, I need your ID and I need somebody to know where I'm going and who I'm going with. If anybody's skeptical about doing that,
Absolutely commit.
let them go. It's not worth the commission check because they're not going
Let
to
them
buy
go.
anything anyhow. Just keep it moving.
I
Yeah, you
haven't had a
won't.
problem with it. I haven't had one
You won't.
person refuse to do it. So I think it's a definitely good practice. I do want to hit, there was one question earlier before we wrap up. And yes, we do need, there was a couple of people that are saying they would love to see the self-defense thing. So maybe we can figure that out. And once
You'll
it
have it on
is
your
figured out,
page. If
I'll
they
have it on
follow
my
me, it'll
page.
be on my page. Can I announce one thing real quick before we go into that question?
Okay.
If you
Absolutely.
guys go to my bio in
Yeah.
my Instagram, I have on January 13th at 12:30, we are doing a live listing presentation. So if you've never seen one before, I have two agents that are going to go through a mock listing presentation. You can watch it on Zoom, or if you're in New Jersey, you can come to our office in Ridgewood and watch it in person. It's free. Again, I come from contribution. It's about helping. So if that's something you haven't seen, you want to see what that looks like, go to my bio, sign up for it. You can watch it on Zoom, or again, come in person if you're in the Bergen County area in New Jersey.
I will definitely be joining by
Yeah.
Zoom. Let me just get these two questions. I'm going to go with the first one because it's to me, and then David, I'll give you the second one. It says, A. Marie, you actually did really good job closing 13 transactions in just 4 months. Please share with us what you did differently and how you generate your leads. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because in the next monthly IG chat on February 9th, so put that down. It's going to be February 9th at 7 p.m. and my guest will be phenomenal. I will be announcing her later this week. But the topic is thinking outside of the box. And so that's when I'm going to actually talk about some of the things that when I say I have thought outside of the box to generate leads, I have. And so I'm going to share some of those things with you. But really quickly, I really just put myself out there. There wasn't work that I wasn't willing to take or to entertain. Obviously, safety first. And not being a secret agent is probably rule number one. Everybody in your life should know that you are an active producing agent, and when they think about real estate, they should be thinking about you. So I did things with that in mind, to have all of those.
She's not really giving you the real answer. The real answer, she got up every day and she went to work. She wasn't on Instagram and TikTok and watching Netflix and hanging out and having conversations. She was working. That's it. You got to go to work.
I was, but I will say about the Instagram and the TikTok, I think for me it was also easier because I have a social media background. I've done a lot with social media. So even before I took my real estate test, I was already putting the seeds out there, and starting social media isn't for everyone. But if it is for you and it's something that you're interested in, I will be doing a live about that as well. It's something that can really help your business. But lastly, the question for you, David, is Venice wanted to know what advice you would give to an agent that wants to invest in property but doesn't have a lot of resources or funds. Are there ways that they can still invest?
So
how can they invest?
This may not be the answer that you want to hear, but I can only be my authentic self with you. I would say if you don't have a lot of resources right now, work on building your resources. Because what I believe is really important is making sure that you have an emergency fund, you have a nest egg and something to fall back on. I don't believe in being highly leveraged. And so if you don't have a lot of resources, number one, put a plan together and start putting some money aside, right? Because when you own investment property, I can tell you things come up. I had an investment property where one of the tenants on one side of my duplex got into an argument with their roommate, went to the door, poured gasoline all on the door and lit the place on fire, and half my duplex burned down, right? If I don't have any resources, how do I handle that, right? So I also had an issue where, I mean, listen, during COVID, how many landlords had properties where people weren't paying rent? If you don't have any resources, how do you handle that?
Right.
And so I would say there are ways to buy investment properties when you don't have a lot of resources. But the first thing I would tell you to do is start saving some resources. And it can be $10 a check, $100 a check, $20 a week, whatever it is, start saving some money up. But the first thing I would do is I would buy a duplex. I would buy a duplex with the limited resources I had, and I would live in one side and rent out the other side and have that person paying 3/4 of my mortgage. And once I got to a point where my finances were in order, I would buy another duplex, do the same thing, and then rent out those 2 units. So I would be smart about it. We all need a place to live. So if you were able to buy a 2-family property with someone paying, 75% of your mortgage, that would be the way to do it if you have limited resources, because that rent is going towards helping you qualify for the loan and is helping you pay your mortgage. That would be my advice.
Great advice, as always. Thank you. So we are going to wrap this up, but I do want to say, if you're not following David, please follow him. Like he said, you can Google Schmoogle, but really it is at David Radney, Radney Push. That is his Instagram. Follow me as well. If you're not following me and you just joined for the live, I do a lot of interesting information that I give that can be helpful for agents, home buyers, renters. So definitely follow me. And then join me again on February 9th at 7 p.m. I
Ooh,
actually have a big announcement
okay.
that I will be making on that day, as well as answering
Can't
the
wait.
question of thinking outside of the box. So with, yeah, thank you. So with that said, we are going to wrap it up. David, thank you for joining me. Thank you everyone else for hanging. I mean, we had the crowd the whole time, and I appreciate you for that. So with
Thank you
that
guys
said, have a
for
wonderful
tuning in.
evening, and we'll
Appreciate
see
you
you
guys.
next
Have a good
time.
one.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.